Hi, I'm Nolan, a brain injury survivor.
Hi, I'm Barnabas, Nolan's massage therapist.
So, Barnabas, what is stretching?
Stretching, it's the shortening and the lengthening of the muscles
Uh-huh.
in a therapeutic way that does two things. It improves your flexibility and it also helps your range of motion. But basically, stretching, it's an applied technique that shortens the muscle and lengthens them and holds them while the muscle fibers are being lengthened to improve flexibility, range of motion, or I would say the lengthening action or the extension of the muscle.
Now, I know from experience that
Uh-huh.
spasticity, it's like tightening of the muscles. Everything just starts getting tightened up and
Hmm.
cramped up. So, in my experience, stretching really benefits the spasticity. And how would you, from your experience, how does it help?
So there are two things that could happen. Like spasticity, it's a kind of neurological workout on the
Mm-hmm.
level in the sense that there is involuntary spasms like contractions of the muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you have that soreness that comes about from multiple contractions of the muscle. So the muscles might be very sore from overuse,
Mm-hmm.
and they might also be stiff from inactivity.
Yeah.
So what stretching does after proper massage therapy is that it gives the muscle a time to relax again. So with the extension, it helps those muscles to be in a more neutral position because it releases the stress from the contraction. And doing that improves flexibility and reduces the triggers of the spasticity. So it's a direct benefit to
All
spasticity
right.
clients or patients.
All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting because from my experience, when I'm working out or in recovery mode, I'm trying to really recover. I feel like the more I exert myself and the harder I work out, the more stress I put my muscles, my body over, that I'm doing myself a favor. But really what ends up happening is I end up becoming very tight and my mobility becomes more limited.
Neither working out that hard, putting all that load on the muscle, or stretching in itself, it's good enough for ultimate holistic recovery. You need both. You need a workout to build muscle strength. The muscles need all that load to build mass and to have that um, tenseness. You
Mm-hmm.
need that for sure to control, to have good control over the ranges of motion you would need to assert. But then when you work those muscles and got them that stance, and since you're a spasticity um, survivor,
Mm-hmm.
you also need the stretching or some kind of lengthening or therapeutic action that relieves the stress from all that cramped up muscles. And when the muscles now return to the neutral positions and even go longer than the neutral position with the
Mm.
stressing protocol, they seem to relax more. And it's in that relaxed state you could now begin to see better control of either the limbs, the upper extremity or the lower extremity, or what part of the body you're trying to move. So they come together. It's not one being so much more important than the other.
Mhm.
Because if you have stretching alone, you have muscles that could do passive range of motion. And by passive, I mean the therapy is helping your legs or your hands or your body to move around,
Mhm.
and you're able to like do those range of motion. But when your therapists aren't helping you, if the muscles are not strong to pick up the movement,
Mhm.
or you don't have the neurological um,
That's true.
connection,
Mhm.
that the proprioception, then it's almost useless. You can't mimic that motion. So we need the workouts to build that muscle
Mhm.
strength. We need the stretching, um, to lengthen the muscles and relax them and
Yeah.
improve flexibility.
Mhm.
And then that also brings in the integration of both the workout and the stretching, the proprioception techniques that help you form those new connections.
That's true. It's very tough for me, in my experience at least, to get myself to do some stretching because I have it hardwired in my head, and I think others can relate to this that no pain, no gain. So if I'm laying there and I'm just doing these really fine movements and just, really stretching and I don't really feel much, I don't feel benefits at the moment, but will I get long term benefits from stretching, even if I'm not, necessarily feeling anything?
Mhm. Oh yeah, you get a lot of long term benefit from stretching. I took an active stretching class.
Uh-huh.
How much to say how I care about stretching. Um, and it really helped me because an active soccer player, and I could compare my performance before I took the class and my performance after that. Taking a whole quarter length active stretching class really improved my performance in the game. Even though I had an injury in the time, I could markedly see that my speed picked up, my pace picked up,
Mhm.
the tricks I could do with the ball also kept up. But this is a big takeaway for you. You talked about pain being gained. Well, it's a perspective thing for me. I don't want to go into that. It's a little bit of a digression from what we're talking
Mhm.
about, but you can't take away that you need that flexibility and range of motion to go about what you want to do. If you have the strongest arm in the world
Mhm.
and you cannot get behind your head, how do you comb your
That's
hair?
true.
You need a little flexibility. And with flexibility comes life. With mobility comes life. If when we're dead and when we're passed on, we're all rigid and stiff.
Mhm.
So when you're able to move those limbs and have that flexibility, it also speaks to the health. And it
Mhm.
speaks directly to those components of your body that are directly impacted by movement. That's the skeletal system and your muscular system.
Right.
Great.
And then that reminds me, like, when it comes to therapy, people often think of physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, but you don't really hear so much about like stretch therapy. So, how important do you think it is for somebody in a brain injury or any recovery to incorporate a stretching regimen into their recovery program?
So one of the reasons why you may not hear so much about stretch therapy, it's because you have stretch therapy as a subset of some of these protocols you're going through. So sometimes your personal trainer, your physical therapist might not do it directly to you, but they will recommend it.
Hmm.
Or sometimes they will help you do it.
That's true.
But it's a subset of this bigger picture. It's a very little component of this bigger picture. So you don't want to create probably a whole career or a whole kind of thing just from stretching.
Hmm.
I'm a massage therapist and I've gone through like 2 classes on stretching and
Hmm.
protocols like that. It's really important. I'm super sure physical therapists went through all that kind of training. Even people in different healthcare professions like nursing and
Hmm.
care aides and providers, they take some of these kind of classes and they surely know the benefit. Even physical trainers who just do kinesiology classes,
Hmm.
they also take stretching classes and they could incorporate stretching to their clients who may need some fitness program and regimen. So I think they do, but different people emphasize it differently
Hmm.
based off the experience and based off the preferences or particular needs of the client. I'm super sure that if you're a ballerina or if you let me see, if you're a swimming
Yeah.
athlete,
Hmm.
you probably will need more flexibility and stretching than a bench a weightlifter.
That's true.
So sometimes if you have a personal trainer, the same personal trainer might emphasize different things. It's based off what you're trying to do and what you need. I could tell for sure that as a brain injury survivor and someone who is suffering from spasticity, you super need stretching all the time. Because come to think about it, in the last 3 months you've moved from barely able to like spread out your fingers and
Uh-huh.
almost lying completely in state of fixed in one position to begin to see motions in your feet, and now you're doing the adduction and abduction.
Hmm.
You're doing like internal rotation, external rotation of your leg. These were things you were completely incapable of. Thanks to the hard work, you put a lot of work to that. The side bridges, the glute work, the plantarflexion and all that stuff you were doing. That helped a lot. But then we did a lot of myofascial release
Yeah, that's
to
true.
strip out the fascia. And after the myofascial release, and now the muscles are well stripped out and all that stress is out of the way and all that adhesions are
Hmm.
out of the way. We also went into the stretching protocol. So it was a very holistic thing we tried to do. And in the last session, you told me, "Oh wow, I'm making new connections."
Yeah.
That's what happens when you have healthy muscles,
Hmm.
and the nervous system seemed to know that. Oh yeah, I could now wire through, send impulses, and get a feedback.
Hmm.
It's like an electric circuit. If you don't plug it in, even if you plug it to the power and it's not connected in all through the line, you don't seem to have a flow of current.
Yeah.
But once that connection is there, boom, it lights up everything.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, there's two things that you said there that struck me. Yeah, there's no one fix it all for everything.
Mhm.
Everybody has different needs. And the second thing you said was stretching isn't good for only people who are trying to recover. Stretching is important for everybody.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another thing is that I want to mention is, when you're in a wheelchair like me, stretching is especially important because you're stuck in this position all the time.
That's right.
So stretching is very beneficial.
All right. So that's it for this edition. And well, thank you guys for listening, and have a beautiful Sunday.
Thank you. Stay tuned, subscribe, and hit the like button.